All right, so first up, we're gonna put in the selector. Followed by the trigger with the spring in the correct orientation. Be sure to have your spring in the channel. There we go. So this goes in after the trigger. It goes on top. Now it sits in there flush. What I like to do is take this pin, try to line it up with that hole right there, like so. Take this other pin, put it in the other side, that way it sits nice and flush. Alright, now the pin goes in. Just didn't quite have it lined up like I thought it was going to be. Take that, push that down like so. Now, these two pieces are holding the trigger still and in place. The selector is still free and loose, and the spring is in place. You're going to want to take this piece, make sure that this goes on top of that little spring in there. Then you're going to feed the pins through. Through that. See how I popped the pin right through and the other side came right out? Now everything's in place. Nothing's loose. So next, we're going to want to take this spring, the hammer, put it in front of this pin like so, kind of bend it down. All right, so we got the spring to go above that pin. It folds down. I used an Allen wrench to kind of hold this in place so I can get it in there so it's nice and loose. Get everything seated. You're going to want to take this pin, drive it through that hole, make sure it goes in straight. All right, now that we got this pin in, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to install the hand grip and the pin. Yeah. Anyways, there's this. These are all parts for the grip. You need this specifically because it goes right in here for the hand grip, which you'll end up putting a bunch of screws, not screws, but springs and whatnot in there. And we're going to take these. You're going to need keeper, pin, spring, screw, hand grip. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the pin in place. We're going to take this big one, and then drop it in this hole right here. Kind of jiggle that around a little bit. And we're going to take this keeper pin. You're going to put it in this side one over here. It's got a smaller hole, hard to mix that up. This has also got the smaller spring that goes right on top of that keeper pin. Then you're gonna take this big fat spring, you're gonna stick it in this hole. Now here's where you're gonna wanna be extremely careful so you don't end up bending this or this. You gotta take it. What I do is I put it sideways. And then you could just go straight down with it. Hold on to it like so with your thumb. Drop that screw in there. Tighten it all down. Now, your safety selector now functions. Your trigger, if you want to test it, just put it down. Don't let it smack right here. So put your hand over, pull it. Functioning trigger. Functioning safety. Pin is in place. Oops, that did not work out like I wanted it to. Mine popped off, so I have to take mine back apart. I did not get the keeper in the channel that it needed to be in. So we're going to want to make sure this channel is faced down in here. Oh, first we got to make sure we get the keeper out of there. Now we can make sure the channel is down. Channel down. Pop that bad boy in there. Put our keeper back in the hole. Put the spring. Oops, that one doesn't go there. This one does, the smaller spring. You'll know because either it'll fit or it won't. And then, like I said, you're going to want to take the big spring, put it in this hole. Tilt sideways, that way nothing falls out. Alright. So here's the tricky part where you want to be careful. You don't want to bend any of these springs. You put it in there like so. Now I can put my screw back in the bottom. Alright, so everything's back to functioning. All tested. This little keeper thing, it's in place now. Put that in on the wrong side, but it'll be okay. You can go either way, I suppose. But the other one's going the other way. Maybe I'll just flip the other one. Depends on person. Then, next we're gonna do buffer tube assembly. For that, we're gonna need this. this spring, keeper, big spring, castle nut, buffer tube. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take this spring, we're gonna put that in there, take that, put that over the spring. I like to let mine sit like that. So next, we're gonna take this tube, make sure your castle nut is on there and the big slots are facing the end. You're gonna wanna take this piece, notice how there is a part that pops out on one end. You're gonna want that to go towards the receiver, away from the buffer tube. It's gonna fit right there in that slot, just like so. Then you're gonna wanna take the buffer tube and the receiver, screw them together a little bit. Let the tube get up to that spring and that keeper. Once it gets close, just like it is, I like to take something small like a screwdriver or Allen wrench or anything else. I don't know about you guys, but this hurts my fingers. Take that, push it down, finish fitting the buffer tube on, just so it sits over the top of that to keep it compressed. Make sure your buffer tube is straight. You're going to want to take this piece, matched up the hole that is in the back of the receiver. Push that together. Be careful of the threads. You don't want to mar those up. Take your nut, spin it back down. Tighten that down. If you have an AR wrench, you can go ahead and just make it a little snug. Don't tighten it, but don't leave it loose and sloppy either. Next, you're gonna wanna take your spring. I like to push that down, that way it's out of the way. Take this guy, push it right in the tube. Next, you're gonna take this, put it in the spring, go past. Then you're gonna wanna push that keeper down, the one that we got in there holding with the buffer tube. Pop that right past it. Now your buffer tube assembly is all complete. Easy peasy, everything functions.